Today is a bit bittersweet because we will add 5 more names to the NJDOT Memorial. After months of meticulous research and archival work, NJDOT librarian Eric Schwartz discovered that Arthur Reinhardt, William C. Eckert, Jeremiah Nicholas O'Brien, William Thornton Anderson Kays, and Joseph George Platt lost their lives on New Jersey's roadways in the late 1940s while working for the New Jersey State Highway Department that is now known as the New Jersey Department of Transportation. While I was saddened to hear that the list of names on our memorial has grown, I would like to thank you, Eric, for finding and honoring the memories of our fallen colleagues. The deaths of these 5 men are a reminder that distracted and impaired driving is a deep-rooted issue in this country, a danger that has existed for over a century. And as long as there are workers on our roadways, it is one that we will continue to combat. This year, NJDOT has launched 2 initiatives that are designed to safeguard the lives of our roadway workers, our first responders, and our fellow motorists. Recently, NJDOT's Traffic Incident Management Training was made available as an online self-guided course. This accessible and affordable alternative to traditional training will allow for more law enforcement and emergency personnel, including volunteer firefighters, EMTs, to take online training and learn how to improve safety and coordination when responding to incidents on New Jersey's roadways. For those who work on our roads every day, saving lives, helping motorists, or improving our infrastructure, the highway is their office. Even with the best practices and proper equipment in place, all it takes is one distracted driver to turn a day at the office into a family's worst nightmare, which is why we've launched our Work Zone Safety campaign this summer. Through radio ads and written advertorials, we are reaching the public in their homes and in their cars to remind them to slow down and move over when driving through a work zone or when passing a first responder or a disabled car. I'm a huge advocate of the slow down, move over law. It's not just a catchphrase. It's a simple act that can save lives, and it is the law. Last year in this country, 49 law enforcement officers, emergency responders, tow truck operators, roadside technicians, and DOT crew members nationwide were tragically struck and killed while doing their jobs. Since we met last September, 24 New Jersey crew members were injured in work zones or while assisting motorists. Those are unacceptable numbers, but thankfully these incidents did not result in death. Unfortunately, however, the injuries inflicted both physically and mentally can be life-altering and permanent. That is why work zone safety is a priority at NJDOT and baked into everything we do. We are focused on reducing our workers' exposure to traffic and limiting crashes and other serious incidents in work zones throughout our state. I have a motto for all of you here that you've heard me use before. Everyone goes home every night. That has to be our goal. It has to be what we strive for. And when I say everyone, I mean not just those employed by the department, but our esteemed members of the New Jersey State Police who support us, our first responders who come out with tow trucks, whether they're EMT or fire, who come out to assist us, and to those trained to do this kind of work on the roads for a number of agencies, our partner agencies, our sister agencies. We must let everyone go home every night. Sadly, when it comes to work zone safety, we still have a ways to go, but we certainly won't be giving up anytime soon. We will continue to pursue legislation for work zone safety, automated enforcement. We will continue to promote the use of any technology that makes our roadways safer, and we will continue to work through education and enforcement to make the lives of those who work on our roadways safer. I am confident with the commitment of each of us that we can continue to reduce work zone safety infractions through education and through enforcement. I do appreciate you being here today and celebrating with us, because as solemn as it is still a celebration of the lives lost, that we still 22 and 23 years later remember why we are here. And so we must remember fondly those who were lost in the tragedies on our roadways and on September 11th and on many other attacks that have happened in this country, including, unfortunately, me remembering where I was when Oklahoma City bombings took place. We have to remember everyone. This country needs healing. Healing begins with each of us. And I hope that we take that seriously. It is the one kind word. It is the holding the door open. It is remembering that even though we're different in so many ways, we are alike in so many others. And I think this department, like no other, can send that message of unity, of commitment, of empathy, of caring. We care for the people we serve every day, and I hope we care for each other the very same way. It is now my great pleasure to welcome NJDOT's librarian, Eric Schwartz, to the podium. Before joining the department in July of 22, Eric served as a librarian at different public and academic libraries. He performed research at Dow Jones and worked as a reporter for several New Jersey newspapers. In the year that he has been here, Eric dove headfirst into his work, joining the National Transportation Knowledge Network and the Transportation Research Board to assist with transportation research thesaurus. And of course, his passion for research has unearthed the memories of our fallen colleagues, giving us a chance to celebrate their lives and honor their sacrifices. And it was with great pleasure I welcome to the podium Eric Schwartz.
Good morning, and thank you, Commissioner and Veronica. Today, I am here to share with you the stories of 5 men who died in the line of duty while working on New Jersey's roads and bridges. Today, we add their names to this employee memorial wall, bringing the total number of those who sacrificed their lives to 41. I discovered the names of these 5 men: Arthur Reinhardt, Walter Eckert, Jeremiah O'Brien, William Kays, and Joseph Platt, during my work archiving the historical collection of NJDOT's research library. These 5 men all gave their lives on the job from 1943 to 1949 while working for the New Jersey State Highway Department, which was the predecessor of the Department of Transportation. A bit of background about this archival work will explain its importance and how it led to finding these names. The deaths of these 5 men were reported in a publication called The Highway, which was a newspaper for employees of the Highway Department published between 1942 and 1950. This publication covered internal matters as well as World War II and society at large. The Highway, along with other publications going back to the 1920s, are some of the important historical documents that we are archiving. As these documents are being scanned and digitized, we are making them available publicly through the New Jersey State Library and through the Internet Archive. Approximately 100 documents are already online, and issues of the Highway will be available soon. One of the first issues of the Highway that caught my eye was from 1949. On the front page was the lead headline, "Platt Killed by Speeding Driver," with a photo of a young man in a Navy uniform. I was curious to see if Joseph Platt's name was on this memorial wall. It wasn't. Reading through the rest of the issues, I discovered 4 other names that were also missing from this wall. We rectified this today. Unfortunately, we were not able to reach their family members. In their memory and honor, I will share with you a short background about each man and about the fatal crashes that claimed their lives. The first of these men killed on the road was maintenance worker Arthur Reinhardt, who was 58 years old. He was standing in front of his work truck when a milk truck collided with the back of his vehicle, which then fatally struck him on October 20th, 1943. He had worked for the State Highway Department for 22 years. 2 years earlier, in 1941, Mr. Reinhardt had fractured his knee in a work zone crash on Chimney Rock Road in Somerset County. an incident where a motorist from Brooklyn perished. Arthur Reinhardt was a resident of Somerville who left behind his wife, Ida. The second man was Walter Charles Eckert. He was 37 years old when he died early on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1947. He was responding to a snowstorm on Route 54 in Buena Vista Township. He had worked for the Highway Department for more than 17 years. A local newspaper reported the next day, snow, sleet, and slush over the New Year's holiday, starting New Year's Eve, made driving extremely hazardous on most South Jersey highways. Nevertheless, Mr. Eckert took seriously his duties as an assistant maintenance foreman, so he went out to supervise the sanding and clearing of roads. Mr. Eckert lost his life while issuing orders to another highway worker. A motorist swerved and hit the highway department truck. This crash caused a snowplow to fall off, crushing Mr. Eckert, who was standing in the roadway. Tragically, his brother George and their wives were in the car and witnessed the scene when he died. Sources differ on whether they left from home or from a New Year's Eve party. The highway newspaper suggested that Mr. Eckert might have avoided the accident if he had been off the road while talking to the truck driver. Walter Charles Eckert had lived in Millville. His wife Viola survived him, as did their son Walter Jr., who was 18 months old. He was also survived by his parents and two sisters. The third of these men was Jeremiah Nicholas O'Brien. He was 69 years old when he died in the line of duty on April 26, 1947. Mr. O'Brien had worked as a movable bridge operator on the Route 25 Passaic River Bridge between Newark and Kearney. He had worked for the Highway Department for 17 years. On that fateful date, Mr. O'Brien was closing a gate to let a boat pass through. A car slammed into the gate, which then swung around and hurled him 20 feet against a concrete curb. Mr. O'Brien was a native of South River, and he had lived in Jersey City for 50 years. In the highway newspaper, he was remembered as having a great host of friends in the department, and he had planned to retire the following year. Jeremiah Nicholas O'Brien left behind his wife, Mary. The fourth of these men was William Thornton Anderson Kays. He was 68 years old when he perished on August 16, 1948, at a construction site on Route 3 in Clifton. Mr. Kays was a principal engineer in the Highway Department's Northern Construction Division. At the work site, a batching truck ran over Mr. Kays as he approached a concrete mixer, fracturing both of his legs. His death was attributed to a shock and loss of blood. Mr. Kays had lived in Mountain Lakes and had been at the Highway Department since 1922. In 1910, he was an engineer overseeing the construction of the railroad tunnel under the Hudson River between New Jersey and New York. William Thornton Anderson Kays was survived by his wife Helene, two sons, William Jr. and Robert, two sisters, and a brother. The fifth of these five men was Joseph George Platt. He was 22 years old when he sacrificed his life on March 1st, 1949, on Route 39 near Bordentown. Mr. Platt was cleaning out snow from catch basins when a speeding car struck him. Mr. Platt was dragged 75 feet before the car was brought to a stop. He was a Navy veteran who joined the Highway Department in 1947, where he was a maintenance worker. He lived in Bordentown. He and his wife, Elizabeth, had celebrated their first wedding anniversary the day before he was killed. His parents, a brother, and a grandmother also survived Mr. Platt. From 1943 to 1949, 6 men gave their lives in service to the Highway Department. In addition to Reinhardt, Eckert, O'Brien, Kays, and Platt, the 6th man was Herman J. Murray. Mr. Murray's daughter, Eileen, spoke at the first dedication for this wall in the year 2000. Mr. Murray's name has been inscribed on this wall since then. 6 deaths in 6 years are significant, and there have been other several-year periods where there have been a relatively high number of accidental deaths among highway and NJDOT workers. Thankfully, there have been only 2 such deaths since this wall was erected in 2000. Is this because of greater safety standards or practices, greater awareness among the public, good fortune, safer vehicles and equipment, better technology, some combination of these factors? I don't have the answers to that. Every time a DOT employee works on a road, bridge, or any outdoor project for construction, maintenance, or responding to an emergency or weather event, that person puts their life on the line. This memorial wall and this annual service recognize those who gave their lives and never came home to their families. Thank you.
So I don't know how you felt about that, but I thought that was extraordinarily moving, and I'd like you to give Eric another round of applause. Eric has only been with us a very short time, but has certainly taken on the mantle that we do in the importance of remembering, honoring, not just what we know today, but even work, and I have to say most meaningfully, thinking about 1910, when Mr. Kays worked on the original Hudson Tunnel bridges, and thinking about where we are today as we talk about rebuilding them. I mean, if that doesn't put a timeline together for all of us about just the continuity of what we do and the importance of what we do, I'm not sure what does. So that research, Eric, was just phenomenally important. And we are so grateful for your work in such a short period of time. And so this plaque with my friend, the Bumblebee, reads, in recognition of your commitment to the New Jersey Department of Transportation for taking the time to thoroughly research several historical publications and determine that additional fallen colleagues from the 1940s should be memorialized on NJDOT's Wall of Remembrance. We appreciate your efforts and the important work that you are doing so that we will never forget those who sacrificed their lives while working for the state of New Jersey and the State Highway Department, now NJDOT.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. I echo the commissioner's words. Without your diligence and your discovery, we would not have been able to recognize these fallen DOT members today. So thank you again. Next, I am on